Hello all and welcome back to Race Dental Academy series. We do appreciate everyone's time today. Whilst we wait for the last people to log on, I just want to welcome people from all around the world. As usual, we have people from all around Asia, North America and Australia and New Zealand, probably our biggest contenders. But today we also have with us our head of customer support, or one of our absolute champions with us, Karen Wells. Thank you very much for joining us, Karen. We always love having you as part of our journey. We will be hearing a little bit later from Karen. So by all means, keep your questions coming as we go. And Karen will be here to liaise them through. We hope we'll get everyone, all the questions met. But today we talk about building your practice around protecting your patients. And there's no other way to protect your patients, or one of the best ways to protect your patients is by use of a mouth guard. And it's probably, believe it or not, one of our most asked questions within the lab. What sort of guard should I be using? How much protection should I need? How big should it be for what age? What sort of mouth guard best reflects the sport that my patient's playing? So today we're going to answer some of those questions. We're going to go back and have a look at the history of the mouth guard, talk through which mouth guard best suits, how to utilize a mouth guard as a lost lead or possibly as a revenue increaser for your practice, and how our most savvy dentists are utilizing the mouth guard to attract more patients and their families to their clinics. So it's a real short seminar today. We're not going to hold you up too long. We'll be looking at around 15 or 20 minutes, and then hopefully Karen will be able to walk us through the Race Guard preferred program. So let's go back before we go forward, and there's been so many changes in the mouth guard just in the short 30 years that I've been here at Race, to see where we first came from and how they were manufactured through to the specific and indicative custom machinery that we use these days to thermoform these guards. So it's come a long way. I wanted to go back when they first asked me to put together a webinar on mouth guards. I just thought, I wonder where the mouth guard started and how it came about. So let's have a little look at that. In the early 1800s, boxers often clenched on a piece of wood, a piece of wool, tape or a sponge between their teeth. But they had a lot of difficulty keeping them in place whilst they were fighting. And they had troubles focusing on the fight, trying to clench this piece of wood or sponge in their mouth. So compliments of a London dentist named Wolf Krauss. He was the first to develop a means of protecting boxers, but he wasn't trying to protect their teeth as much as protect the lips from lacerations during contact in a fight. So he used gutta perca and laid across the anterior or incisors, the incisal edge of the upper anteriors, in the hope of decreasing lacerations. So we can thank the boxing fraternity for introducing oral protection in the sporting arena. Some years later, his son Wolf's son Philip Krauss finally fulfilled his father's dreams and developed the first reusable mouth guard. And this photo on screen was the first time it made its debut between in a championship fight between Jack Britton and Ted the Kid Lewis in 1921. And that's an actual photo from the fight of the first reusable mouth guard in 1921 that Philip Krauss developed. So from there, it's been an ongoing development and improvement to where we get today. So in Bite magazine back in August 2015, we saw a photo of Christina Johnson here, who was struck in the mouth by a hockey stick during a game in Tasmania. She was a vet at the time, and she had trauma suffered to her front teeth with no mouth guard. The front tooth was knocked out. That she had another tooth fractured and the displacement and pushing back of multiple teeth, as well as severe lacerations, as you can see here, to her lips and gums. So when people say to me, is it really essential I wear a mouth guard? Well, you don't really need to protect all of your teeth, just the ones that you want to keep. It's super essential that we look after any of the teeth we wish to keep. So looking through some more feedback here and some other information I looked at. So sport, leisure and recreation activities are the most common cause of dental injuries. And statistics in America show that accidents when cycling, skateboarding and scooter riding account for about 44% of dental injuries. Sports such as football, boxing, basketball, netball, cricket, hockey and soccer, football account for up to 14% of dental injuries. So yeah, you should really consider the possibility of offering your young cyclists, skateboarders and scooter riders the opportunity to protect themselves. If they're going out for the day scooter riding or skateboarding, they may wish to consider looking after or protecting their teeth further through a mouth guard, but definitely contact sports or any sport where contact with equipment, collision with other players or falling is possible, even accidentally, does carry a risk of dental injury, and for that reason should really be considered to have the application of a mouth guard. So competitive matches have been shown to be far more hazardous than training sessions, but a study done in 1988 found that 69% of all injuries occurred during matches, as opposed to only 31% during training sessions. Personally, I don't think 31% is something to sneeze at, so I would strongly suggest the recommendation of wearing a guard during training sessions as well as the game, just to cover a lot more of the risk of oral trauma. An issue of the Journal of American Dental Association, as you can see here, reported that 13 to 39% of all dental injuries are sports related, or when sports related being any sporting activity, with 2 to 18% of the injuries related to the maxillofacial. Males, unfortunately for us males, we're twice as often traumatized as females. I'm not sure if that's the way men go in or males go into tackles, or if there's more males playing sport, but you may wish to consider that when your patients are coming in. And the maxillary central incisor being the most commonly injured tooth. There was also a study I read of substantially increased danger of permanent central incisors being damaged to severe class 3 patients, severe class 1 patients whose over jet was 7 millimeters or more, or if there was no labial lip support, the statistics fly even higher again. So keep that in mind for your class 1 patients, or your patients with a larger gummy smile or more tooth on show during physiological rest. Keep that in mind. So you may just keep those in mind when your kids come in or when adults come in, who we need to protect the most. So then I started looking at what sports were the most dangerous, not so much cycling and scooter riding and skateboarding, but which of the actual sports were most dangerous. And a study I read showed that basketball had the highest injury rate, with both males and females, and due to the hand or elbow contact. And as a basketballer some years back myself, the first thing you're taught, arms out, come up strong. And because so many of those patients or sports people on the basketball field aren't wearing a mouth guard, I think that's probably part of the reason why the statistics are the highest on the basketball court. Close contact, speed of the game all increases potential risk of trauma. So keep that in mind. Not only the contact sports like rugby and hockey and stick sports, I think we really need to consider all sports predominantly where close contact with players and speed is involved. So the first thing I say is don't let this happen to your child, and feel free to use these sort of tactics. Put some photos up, take advantage of some photos to demonstrate to patients and to demonstrate to the parents of patients what can happen if we don't protect the children. So this is something, and I know unfortunately I lost a front tooth of my 4-year-old at the time, and I know he's now 7. He's been without a front tooth for some years now. So I'm one. It wasn't trauma during sport, but an accident in the kitchen, believe it or not. So yeah, we really got to consider looking after the teeth of not only your children, but also yourself. A photo here from dentistry today showing that what can happen during sports if they're not protected accordingly. So when we look at mouth guards, what are the options? Where do we start? Who do we look at? How many layers do we need? Can I go to the shops and buy one? Do I need to go to the dentist and buy one? Online options. There's a ton of options to look at, and I'm going to show you now what guards we recommend for what age brackets and what types of sports. But we're going to look firstly at what types of guards are there. So the first one on the left-hand side is obviously the cheapest one. It's off the shelf. You bite into it, you must remain clenched. Unfortunately, like the 1800s boxing matches, they need to be clenched into position, so it does make it difficult to stay in place. They are the cheapest, so that's definitely a pro, but they are the least protective, so that's definitely the con. There are studies or examples in the past of a child who was wearing an off-the-shelf guard. It was trauma. The guard was swallowed, but after they took him to hospital, they realised that it wasn't swallowed, it had been inhaled. So I would strongly recommend the off-the-shelf solution be one you surpass or look past. It is an option and better than nothing, but for the sake of not being kept in the mouth while the patient is breathing or making contact or running, I would suggest strongly on avoiding that restoration or that off-the-shelf guard. The one towards the bottom is the boil and bite. That's a material that's submerged in boiling water until it's heated and pliable, and then the patient bites into it. You get a sort of B grade or C grade fit that keeps it in there, I guess, while they're breathing. But again, you can see down the bottom the materials to ensure the material can be pliable. The longevity of the material isn't so good. And I think on the right-hand side, the clinical dentist impression with a custom fitted and preferably laminated mouthguard would be chalk and cheese on the protection level compared to the off-the-shelf and the boil and bite. So there's no doubt the studies all showed the custom fitted and laminated guards are the way to go. So people say, what should I be looking for with a good mouth guard? And here's a custom-made mouth guard that was made by one of our specialist team here. Her name is Jasmine. She's the best. I love her to death. She makes some really nice guards. She's made one here. I did say, can you make me one? She's decided to make one in bright pink for me. I left that decision in her hands. She's not only a great technician, she makes me laugh. So I'm going to put this in and show you what we're looking for when we are working with a guard. So a guard should be comfortable, yet tight fitting. A guard should allow normal breathing and swallowing. Allow normal speech or reasonably normal speech. It shouldn't cause the patient or the wearer to gag. It should be odorless and tasteless, and it should be thick enough, around about 4 millimeters, to provide the protection against the impact. So I think this one here is a race guard medium. It's a AA, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but you can see how comfortable it is. It's not inhibiting my breathing. My speech is only minimally invaded. I can still yell and scream at my players, especially beneficial for the captain. So yeah, keep that in mind. So yeah, super comfortable guards, super benefit in protection. But keep it in mind, if you are using laminated guard, around about 3, 4, 5 millimeters of thickness, depending on the protection layer you're looking for, would be the recommended thickness. We like about a 4 mil protection. So these are the colours that the race guard comes in. The top left corner shows the plain colours. The top right are our fluoro colours. Down below that is the pearl colours, and I really love those pearly colours. And we can even add your logo or your team dynamic, or even some words or graphic across the front, should you wish. The patient's name and all our laminated guards can be placed in the palatal surface, as too can their mobile phone number. which is particularly good for the young kids who can lose them. Mum often puts her number in there, so if the guard is lost, whoever finds it can find its original owner. Looking at the colours at the top, we can also have a number of 1, 2, or 3 of those colours, so you can combine 2 colours should you wish, like blue and a yellow. No doubt that'll be a popular solution for most. So let's look at how a guard can protect you. Obviously, in the top right side, you'll see laceration, and that's where guards first were introduced to stop laceration. Any contact with the lip hitting the incisal edge or labio incisor, disto incisor, mesio incisor corners of anterior teeth would lacerate aggressively. So that's the first thing, and the thing the guard does particularly well is stop laceration to the lips. Mouth impact and direct contact protects the cheeks, the lips, the gum, and even the tongue. Especially, we see a lot of these basketballers who have the tongue hanging out when they're concentrating. I think that's another important thing to look at. Direct jaw impact as well, potential damage to teeth, temporomandibular joint damage, jaw and base of the skull are all protected during jaw impact with a laminated and protected guard. Under chin impact as well will protect the teeth, TMJ, the jaw and the base of the skull, and a properly fitted mouth guard reduces the force of impact, helping protect against jaw fractures. There's no doubt that studies have all shown that the benefits of the mouth guard go on and on and on during sporting and play. And this is what I tell a lot of my patients: the cost of an injury to the tooth or jaw far exceeds the cost of a custom fitted mouth guard. Custom fitted mouth guard from $100 to $300, depending on what you need it to do, is a real Superman approach in comparison to the cost of having this fixed. An implant alone, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Crowns, bridges, anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. It's a no-brainer that protecting our teeth will be far more cost-effective than repairing any damage done later. So for me, I tell my kids that wearing a mouth guard should be as natural as your warm-up. When you're stretching, you should be looking for your guard. When you're putting your shoes on, your soccer boots, your football boots, your shin pads, it's unusual that kids reach for shin pads as a no-brainer and aren't reaching for a mouth guard. It really should be packed in there and part of the warm-up, part of the suit-up, and part of the ritual that one goes through before running on the field. I only just recently quit playing soccer myself, and the placement of the mouth guard was just as important as the placement of shin guard. So keep that in mind, and we really need to push these kids and these athletes to ensure that becomes part of the warm-up process. So now we know about what mouth guards can do, the benefits of them, why offer them in our surgeries, in our clinics? It's not only to protect the patient, but we're going to run through a couple of these things. And I asked a couple of my clinicians, why do you push the guard so much? Is it just the protection of the patients? And some of them said it's actually to build their practice, which is about why this webinar was put together today. So new technologies improved, benefit of a custom mouth guard and lowered the cost of providing it to them. There's no doubt with some of these ergo-forming and thermo-forming machines, we get a better result, more cost effectively. Mouth guards are close to the core business of dentistry. Millions and millions of children each year need mouth guards to protect their teeth. So we're looking at an enormous target market of opportunity of exposure for a clinic to new patients, new families, and potential new customers. Custom guards are a quality dental service. As children grow, they will need mouth guards replaced, so it's an ongoing revenue stream. Many adults need guards as well. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of elderly and mature sports people out there. Mouth guards can be a source of word of mouth and referrals, and present new revenue source. That requires little doctor time. And again, the dentist or the doctor doesn't need to take the scan. The digital impression can be taken by other members of the team. So it becomes an awesome revenue stream without the need of time-consuming, a lot of time by the principal operator. And mouthguards promote goodwill to patients and their parents. In addition to providing a needed service to patients, athletes, offering mouthguard is a way not only to build goodwill with patients and parents, but also jumpstart your practice growth through the new revenue stream. Zero service, as I mentioned, from the dentist, that the nurse can take the impression now, or the digital impression. And there's no doubt digital impressions are the best solution for mouthguard impressions. Everything tooth-borne is better done with a quality digital impression system or intraoral scanner. And it's now seen as outstanding patient care. Dentists pride themselves on offering the highest quality of care. Custom mouth guards or laminated custom fitted guards are the best way to show your patients you care about their teeth and their smiles and their families. So what type of guard is best for your patient? Which guard should I pick? Why should I pick it? Let's touch base on that now. The first of 4 guards made at race is our junior guard. Our junior guard is customized guard. It's customized to the impression that's been taken of the patient. It's a single layer guard, which means you can only have one color. There's no names, no graphics. It's for junior sports, and it's recommended for sports people up to the age of about 5. My 3-year-old and all 3 of my kids were wearing guards at 3 and 4 and 5. It was a junior guard, customized still, single layer, very thin, small, not so much bulk, easy for the kids to breathe. Not a lot of protection in comparison to the laminated guards, but perfect for those young kids up to 4, 5, maybe 6. The next guard at race we call our light mouth guard. A light mouth guard is a custom laminated guard, provides an enormous amount of protection. It's a double layered guard, up to about 3 millimeters thick. Due to it being laminated, we can put 1, 2, or 3 colors in it. They can put the patient's name and phone number in it if they wish. Graphics and logos can be included if you do have a graphic. You want a graphic placed in the front of the guard, or a name, or maybe the club's logo in the front. It's no problem at all. It's for younger sports people up to the age of around about 12. It's one of our more popular guards, probably second most popular guard that we make for the younger kids. And this is the guard all 3 of my kids are in now. Our most popular guard at race is our medium guard. Custom laminated protection, as we mentioned. Double layered guard, up to around 4 millimeters thick again, but they have thicker materials, an extra millimeter thick for our medium guard. Up to 3 colors, 1, 2, or 3 colors, because it's laminated. You can have the name and the phone number in it. Graphics and logos, no problems at all. It's for teenage sports predominantly, up to around about the age of 17. It is a fantastic guard. That's the guard I showed you that I wear when I'm playing, when I was playing soccer. But yeah, keep it in mind, it's our most popular guard today, and I think that probably provides substantial amount of protection without the added bulk for the huge players themselves. Good for these sorts of sports, as you can see on the screen now. And then the last guard that we make here at race is our Heavy Pro mouth guard. Our Heavy Pro is a custom laminated guard, AAA with an insert to enable any forces to be portrayed back to the posterior teeth. It is a lot thicker, so it really is much more protective. You can have up to 3 colors, names, graphics, phone numbers, all the same with our any of our laminated solutions. But this guard is predominantly reserved for professionals and professional sports people, generally aged 18, or if you've got someone who fights from the age of 16, I would recommend a Heavy Pro. Anything below age of 16, I think the Heavy Pro is going to be a little bit too big for the patient to be able to breathe substantially. These sorts of hit in this level of football, probably pretty normal for a Canterbury player to be tackling like this, but that's why we need to protect the players. But a high level of football, you can see the Parramatta Eels going in for try over the Brisbane Broncos, something probably see more on Friday night, I hope. These reserves are these guards are reserved for this level of sports person. So with most causes of concussion, a study done in 1985 showed that most common cause of concussion in sport is a blow to the mandible, a study done by Chapman in 1985. But it's also shown that an athlete who has sustained a concussion is 4 times more likely to suffer a further concussion in the future. That study in 1983 was a little bit frightening, that if you did have suffered concussion, then the chance of recurring concussion is 4 times likely. So now even more opportunity or more study or more evidence of the need of a mouthguard. So these are in 2016, they started making mouthguards to detect the amount of impact, and these mouthguards that came out in 16 measure the amount of impact, and then Bluetooth information sends that data to the sideline and tells the people on the sideline if there's a light, medium, or heavy chance the patient or wearer or athlete needs to be removed from the field. There's an app that they track into with Bluetooth technology. It also tells the sideline, measures the head orientation, the position, the velocity, the acceleration, the impact. A lot of information. They didn't take off as much as we would have thought they probably could have. The guard will flash green if it's low risk. It'll flash blue if it's high risk. And if it flashes red, it's autonomously removal of the patient from the field because it's guaranteed concussion. This guard was the one that came out in 16. This is the one that came out in 18 to counteract. But there's several of these companies that make these guards, and it goes to show you again the benefit of a guard. It's protection against concussion. So how to take an impression? Here's some impressions for mouth guards. Please, if you take your impressions, please ensure that you give sufficient sulcus extension for the guard. Too often we see around the guard impression stopping here, and we just have insufficient material to enable the guard to retain during that impact or during the patient, when they're breathing aggressively, to keep that mouth guard intact. It's essential we have full sulcus extension. So super important. As to in the palate here, you can see we do need rugae, a substantial amount of rugae. Try and catch the tuberosity or the palate of the tuberosity. It does make a big difference. People often ask me, I wonder if I can get rid of this here. All right. So people often ask me, what about if the patient has braces? No problem at all. Take a scan as you normally would, or if you're still living in the Stone Age, you can take a traditional or a rubber or a goop impression, but it's very difficult around the braces to get a solution that can be worked with, but try and do the best you can. On the right hand side of the screen, we'll see emerging teeth. If the patient has still emerging teeth, then obviously let us know, and we can block those out. Second, we have technical difficulties here.
Matt, I'm just going to quickly interrupt with a quick question that we've had here from Dr. Lai, just covering what you were talking about there.
Sure.
With mixed dentition. They were just asking whether they need to go across multiple mouth guards if they're going through a mixed dentition stage.
No. Generally, if a patient is dealing or if they have mixed dentition and they're growing that quickly, the mouth guard will need to be replaced seasonally. And if that's the case, and just here I'll show you where I've just circled these teeth, a good example of a tooth that's emerging quickly. Let us know. We'll block out over the top of that, like do a little diagnostic build over the top of that to enable that tooth space to grow into. If teeth are growing that quickly, the guard will need to be replaced seasonally. You really only get one season out of a guard. Once adult teeth have completely come down at around age 18 or 19, then one guard you may get 2-3 years out of. But if you do have mixed dentition, One guard should do the season. If you have a tooth emerging, quickly let us know and we can block out that area. It's an excellent question, but definitely no need for more than one guard, but maybe possible need for blocking out for those emerging teeth. More so an issue, we see it mostly in laterals and even more so in canines, where you just see the cusp tip of the canine coming through. We'll mask that out about 2 millimeters. We don't normally see more than 2 millimeters of extrusion of growth of a canine within a season, and the kids' seasons are only about 12 to 14 games at max, so that guard should suffice. But it's an excellent question. With the braces, you'll see here, all we do is go ahead with periphery wax and block that out in one go, and then we do the suck down or the thermofilming of the guard over the top of that. So in the guard, you'll see just a full trench in and around where all the braces, all the brackets sit, and we normally get an excellent fitting guard. Brackets or braces are an excellent form of support as they are. They will protect the teeth as good as a mouth guard, in my opinion. But lacerations are horrendous, so I think they're more protective of the patient for lacerations. As a wearer of braces myself as a kid, I remember what it was like peeling your top lip out of your braces, so it's not fun. I would highly recommend anyone with braces wear a mouth guard for any sort of contact sport or scooter riding or anything like that, so keep that in mind. So here's another scan that was taken that came in for a mouth guard. You can see the recommended height there with the green line I've placed across there. We really need to get up high like that. The blue line is where the scan data finished. The red line is the lowest point, which is just far too little sulcus and labial area to make a fitted guard. So please ensure full palatal, full rugae and full labial and buccal sulcus extension, so we can get a nice fitting guard looking good. If your guards aren't fitting well, it's probably because you've given insufficient scan data or insufficient rubber impression for that reason. So here's that guard of mine I showed you. You'll see the top left here. This is the scan that was taken from my mouth. You'll see beautiful, great sulcus extensions all the way up here. I really only need the guard to finish here, but the impression allows me to make whatever height guard that I need. I see beautiful visibility of my frena and the buccal frenas as well. So when I design my guard, I can come down. And this is quite a low guard. I would make it a little bit higher, up to around about here for a heavy pro. But for medium and light guards, we come down here. Obviously, I need to expose the frena completely. And you'll see the final guard here. Just around about here is that incisor ledge, so you'll see 3 millimeters of protection over the labio-incisor corner, which is, 3 to 4 millimeters, around about 4 millimeters of material here, which is really ensuring I've got all that protection right where I need it for that impact. From medium and heavy guards, we do ask for the opposing and the bite. We will grind in slight retention, slight bite into the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see here. You'll see the bite that's just been imprinted there in the lower, and that's, we mount the case and put that bite in there just to make sure when you go in with a hit, any side force to the mandible will be catch and release, and hopefully help dissipate or alleviate that knock and concussion through the temporomandibular joint or the condyle into the glenoid fossa. It's really important for the higher level of sports to have that indentation, so please feel free to provide us with the opposing and bite if there's no easily found central relation. So here's for those of you that wish to become one of the Race Guard preferred partners. Karen, would you like to walk us through the benefits of this and what that entails?
Certainly, Matt, thank you. As you indicated earlier on, it's a great revenue builder for your practice, and the Race Guard program can partner with you to generate that. We will be sending out an EDM after the webinar that will have links and how to join the program. It's also on our website as well. You can always jump on there and find the information on there as well. What will come with that? All you need to do is simply pre-purchase one mouthguard to begin with. We will then send you out 50 DL flyers that you can hand out to your patients. Thanks, Matt. This is the little kit that we'll be sending you out. We'll give you an A3 and an A4 sized printed poster with your logo on it as well, and that will, on those posters, will have the information like the colours, the strengths of mouth guards and things like that you can choose from. We'll give you some sample mouth guards that you can show your patients the real difference between those custom-made mouth guards and the ones that you can purchase through chemists and shopping centres and things, just so they can really feel the difference and making them invest basically in their smile and keeping that smile secure. You'll also receive some graphic designs that you can pop on your social media and onto your websites as well. And you'll also be added to our network of dentists, where a patient can find you online and find a dentist closest to them. So it will also bring you that revenue in through that scheme as well. Thanks, Matt.
Oh, that's awesome, to see the detail that this marketing team have put together to enhance the growth of your practice. It's really be commended, Karen, you and your team and the graphic team here at Race. What a real feather in your cap putting that together to support our clinicians, and we thank you for that. So look, please tell your patients, do the right thing, wear a mouth guard. There's no doubt that you can build your practice using the Race guard. If you have any further questions, please make contact with us. My name is Matt Race. I'm Matt at racedental.com.au. Alternatively, you can go straight to the boss, customer support at racedental.com.au. We do appreciate you joining us today. We've come a long way. If there's anything more you need, please feel free to make contact. We really appreciate your time. See you next time for the Race Academy program. Thank you very much.